Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a lovely, wonderful time. In today's video, I am going to be doing some battles in the Spring Cup. Now, in my last video, I said I did not want to touch Spring Cup, but let me tell you what happened. After going 10-0 in Ultra League with the double electric team that I showcased in the last video, the algorithm decided that I shouldn't get any more wins. I guess I upset the algorithm because I got a really good win rate and I got really close to veteran, but then I just kept getting hard counter after hard counter after I got that win streak. So I thought I'd give Spring Cup a chance. I mean, it couldn't get any worse. I had already lost 250 points and I heard everyone was saying that Roserade was really good in the cup, so I decided maybe I would try it out. And I'm really glad that I did because I went 13 wins to 2 losses with the team that you guys are seeing on the screen right now. Mind you, it might have been because I had lost so many games before, so the algorithm was being nice to me. But I found that this team is pretty solid. The only big weakness that it has is Abomasnow. However, I have some games in this video where I do face the Abomasnow and I am able to win those matches. The team is going to be Lantern on the lead with Roserade usually on the safe swap and Tropius in the back. Now there are some situations where I will use Tropius as a safe swap in place of Roserade, especially when I face a Ferrothorn on the lead. I'll bring in Tropius because Roserade is technically the harder counter to Ferrothorn. I also found that most teams running Ferrothorn are not going to have a hard answer to Tropius in the back. Some of them might have the Tentacruel, which will be unfortunate, but they are highly unlikely to have an Ice type in the back. So Tropius and Ferrothorn is a pretty decent safe swap. And really quickly, before we get into these battles, I do have Grass Knot written on the infographic instead of Leaf Storm, which is what I'm running in the games. That's because I would recommend Grass Knot over Leaf Storm. I found in a lot of situations that I needed the Grass Knot and I didn't want to debuff myself with Leaf Storm, so just keep that in mind. But anyways, let's get into these battles. Up first, we are going to be facing a Trevenant on the lead, which is a terrible lead for Lantern. I immediately swap into my Roserade and my opponent is staying in, so I'm going to go ahead and shield here in case my opponent goes for the Shadow Ball. They fully send the Shadow Ball, and I hold on to my energy. I don't throw the Weather Ball right away. My opponent swaps into a Dugong, and I go for the Leaf Storm. However, they are going to go ahead and shield that up, but they use both of their shields at this point. So my opponent has no shields left. I go ahead and I bring Lantern into this Dugong, and I'm going to go immediately for the Thunderbolt. We did have to take a Drill Run, but I didn't want to take another one, so I had to throw the Thunderbolt as soon as I got it. Now the Dugong's out of the way. I'm just hoping that Tropius can sweep whatever my opponent has in the back. They did stay in with Trevenant and take a bunch of Air Slash damage, so that's gonna work in my favor because now they are in range of a move from our Lantern, and also the Trevenant is energy dry. I'm gonna go ahead and shield here in case it's a Sledge Wave. It is. We were going to be able to farm that Tentacruel down, have energy for Trevenant, and we were going to be able to take that win. So my opponent goes ahead and top left. GG's. On to the next game, we are going to have an amazing lead of Empoleon into our Lantern. My opponent safe swaps into a Tropius. Now, I attempted to catch a Leaf Blade on my own Tropius, however I fail, and because I really wanted to maintain alignment, I go ahead and I shield the first aerial ace. I am going to be able to no shield the next one, however, and then I'm just going to go ahead and throw the Leaf Blade as soon as I get it. I want to make sure that I can get this Tropius out of the way, and my opponent is going to bring their Empoleon back in, but they are going to have to take a Leaf Blade from our Tropius, and it does so much damage to the Empoleon. I'm gonna bring Lantern back in, and I don't know why I did this here. I threw the Surf on a Superior. I have no idea what was happening, but yeah, I did that. That was a really dumb play on my part. I should have just brought in the Roserade as soon as my opponent swapped into their Superior, and then I wouldn't have given them free energy, also because I have 1 shield left and I cannot let my opponent reach 3 aerial aces. Luckily they don't. We're able to take them out with the poison jabs, and then my opponent gives up and we're able to take that win. So I didn't get punished for my really dumb mistake, but you know, okay. Let's forget that that even happened. But anyways, moving on to the next match, we are going to see an amazing lead of Pelipper, and this is why you want the Lantern on the team. It is going to take care of the flyers like Pelipper, it's going to take care of Empoleon really well, and it's going to do pretty good against the poison types, especially Tentacruel. Now, my opponent save swaps into a Lantern, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky, and this is where I kind of wish I did not have Leaf Storm, because I go ahead and I drop my attack. I should be just going for the Weather Balls. If I hadn't dropped my attack, the Weather Ball would be enough to take this Lantern out. Unfortunately, they are going to be able to take us out with Thunderbolt. Because of how Roserade is squishy, the Lantern is able to win that, and also because I had dropped my attack, I could have gone for Weather Balls, but then at that point, after dropping my attack, I was not going to be able to take that Lantern out with a Weather Ball. Anyways, we do lose lead, unfortunately. We're going to lose alignment as well, and 2 Leaf Blades are not enough to take this Pelipper out. However, I do manage to successfully catch a Weather Ball on my Lantern, and my opponent is going to have a Trevenant in the back. Let's see if there's still a chance for me to win this. If I could do enough damage to this Trevenant with my Lantern, and then maybe if I can reach an Aerial Ace on my Tropius, or maybe if I put them in Leaf Blade range here, then I might have a chance. But no, it looks like my opponent is going to be able to take us out with a Shadow Ball. They did have enough energy for that, so unfortunately we are going to take the loss there. But we still managed to go 4-1 in that set. That could have been an easy 5-0. I played like garbage in that set, by the way. In the previous set also, I had gone 4-1, so the team's working out really well. I just need to play a lot better because my gameplay right now is a little bit questionable. Anyways, moving on to the next set, we are going to be seeing an Empoleon on the lead in the first game. Really good lead for me, and this time I do manage to catch the Leaf Blade on my Tropius when my opponent swaps into a Tropius. So at least we're able to catch that, but then I am going to shield the next Aerial Ace. Again, I want to maintain alignment. I really want my Lantern to be aligned to their Empoleon. My opponent goes ahead and they shield as well. Now, I am going to invest my second shield because my opponent might be able to flip this. We actually CMP tied on the Aerial Ace, and my opponent lets their Tropius go. That's good for me. I am going to be able to have my Lantern aligned to their Empoleon, and I'm also going to be able to throw a Leaf Blade on their Empoleon, and they go ahead and they use their final shield. And because I had a move stored on my Lantern, I go ahead and I snipe the Empoleon. I'm able to take them out with a Thunderbolt, and my opponent brings in a Superior. Now, it could get really tricky if my opponent leaves this matchup with 2 Aerial Aces, because Roserade is not going to be able to take 2. It can take 1, it cannot take 2. Now, I have to be really careful here. I am going to take the first Aerial Ace, and then I'm going to try to go for a catch on the second one. I waited a turn, it worked out for me, and my opponent throws the Aerial Ace on our 1 HP Tropius in the back. I'm going to be able to reach a Weather Ball on Roserade and take the Superior out. GG's to our opponent. Moving on to the next match, this is where we are going to save swap into Tropius. We do see a Ferrothorn on the lead. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Tropius, and my opponent is choosing to stay in. I'm going to no shield whatever this is. If it's Flash Cannon, it's fine. It is a Thunder, however, and Thunder is not going to hurt Tropius that much. Even though Tropius is a flying type, its grass typing is going to be resisting electric type moves, so it takes neutral from the electric type moves. My opponent reaches another Thunder. They are staying in this match, which is good for me, and they take another Aerial Ace on their Ferrothorn. Then my opponent is going to bring in a Lantern, and Lantern is not a great answer to Tropius. I am at least able to throw a Leaf Blade on it. We take a shield from them, and here I decide to bring in my Roserade, although as we saw in a previous match, Roserade versus Lantern is not great. My opponent also baited with a Surf, and I shielded it thinking it was Thunderbolt because, as we've seen, Thunderbolt really hurts Roserade. Now my opponent is absolutely wrecking me at this point. They go ahead and they catch the Leaf Storm on their Ferrothorn. That's not great for me at all. At least I'm able to get the Ferrothorn out of the way, and then all I can do is hope that my Lantern will be able to take out whatever my opponent has in the back. They go for a Surf here before I throw the Thunderbolt. That's fine, I'm gonna let it go. We're able to take their Lantern out, and my opponent has an Empoleon in the back, and this is looking really good for me. I can go ahead and shield up whatever this is here. I'm gonna go for a Thunderbolt on this Empoleon, and I know that I can reach a move on my Roserade, so I'm just gonna stay in, do as much damage as I can against the Empoleon with my Lantern, and then I can bring Roserade in, go for a Weather Ball. This is going to be enough to KO the Empoleon, and we are going to be able to take that win. Even though my opponent was able to catch and make really nice plays against me, I was still able to take that win. Moving on to the next match, this is where we have to start getting creative because my opponent is going to be leading that dreaded Shadow Abomasnow. I immediately swap into my Roserade and I start doing damage to the Abomasnow. Now, I'm going to go immediately for the Leaf Storm here against Jellicent. At least we're able to take a shield from them, but we're not able to take the Jellicent out. I'm going to let Roserade go at this point, and then I'm just going to bring in Lantern and hope for the best, I guess. I take the Shadow Ball, and then I'm going to go immediately for the Thunderbolt so that I don't have to take another Shadow Ball. This should be enough to KO the Jellicent, and I'm just going to stay in with Lantern up against Abomasnow, expecting my opponent to bring the Abomasnow back in and try to do as much damage as I can to it. If I can get it into Air Slash range, I can Air Slash it down with my Tropius, and all I can do here is hope that my opponent has another Water type in the back. They do. They have a Poliwrath in the back. I know that Abomasnow can't get to another move, so I'm going to go ahead and shield the Icy Wind. I get to a Leaf Blade. We take our opponent's final shield. I get to another Leaf Blade, and this should get my opponent really low. I'm able to Air Slash the Poliwrath down, and then I can Air Slash the Abomasnow down and take that win. GG's to our opponent. Moving on to the final match of the video, we are going to be facing a Kingdra lead, and I actually really like this idea. I think Kingdra could work really well in this cup. They are going to be facing our Lantern, however, and the Thunderbolts are going to be hitting for neutral. They let the Thunderbolt land, and here I think it's an outrage, so I go ahead and I shield. Unfortunately, we do get baited with an Octazooka, so completely wasted shield. My opponent then brings in Roserade, and I immediately swap my Tropius into the Roserade. Gonna immediately go for the Aerial Ace as soon as I get it, and my opponent shields it. Now, unfortunately, they do have a lot of energy loaded up on their Roserade, so I am going to bring my Lantern in, hoping that my opponent blind through a Weather Ball, but they didn't. At least I'm going to be able to bring Roserade in and Poison Jab their Roserade down, and my opponent is going to have a Poliwrath in the back. Now, I had to watch out in case my opponent went for a catch. They did. Were able to Poison Jab the Kingdra down, and here I do a really stupid mistake. I should have just gone for the Leaf Storm because I basically gave my opponent a win condition here, but at least I am able to get to back-to-back Weather Balls here, take my opponent's final shield, and then the Weather Ball KOs the Poliwrath. GG's to our opponent. We are able to take that last win. And with that, we are going to be able to take a 5-0. I'm sorry, guys, if my gameplay in this video wasn't great. I made a lot of mistakes, but also I think we can learn from a lot of the mistakes that I made, so I'm just going to leave them in the video. Oh well. And thank you guys so much for watching my video. If you guys like my content, please consider subscribing. Maybe leave a like. It helps me out so much. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.